All right, so I didn't have an update last week because the car was still at the body shop. Here's my competition, 98 200 SX, and of course this is the one that's going to win once we do eventually get to race. So they did fix my car for me, and I'm sure in the other videos you guys probably couldn't tell too much if you didn't watch those. This bumper was kind of ripped out of the body, and the piece inside was actually torn completely off. So I dropped the car off earlier last week, and then I just picked my car up today. I guess it's kind of hard to see from the video, but they did touch up the paint. Obviously they didn't get everything. That would have been nice. But they did buff it out, and they did completely take the bumper off and fix/repaint it, because I did have I had a chip somewhere in either one of these corners. It wasn't both of them, it was just one. So they actually fixed the entire bumper for me, thank God. And they actually did an alignment on it. So before, one wheel, I believe it was the driver's side, one wheel was straight up and down, which means that the tire actually came out to here, maybe. It was out, basically there was no camber, it was straight up and down. So this, even though the camera angle looks a little weird, it is cambered in probably about, if I had to guess, maybe 2 degrees, maybe 2.5, not very much. As well as the front. Now the wheel is turned a little bit, but they definitely did a 4-wheel alignment, and they were saying that they were having problems getting the car on the alignment machine because of how low it was. Wait, let me continue on. So this side, they adjusted the camber in, and the back tire on this side has been cambered in as well. So I forgot that I lowered the car and the suspension hadn't completely settled yet, and my bumper actually needs a lot of attention. It's probably a little difficult to see in this shot, but it's got chips and all kinds of stuff. This white part right here was done by my next door neighbor about 1.5 years ago, and they were supposed to give me the money to replace the bumper and get it painted, and basically they just flaked out on the deal. And then we moved, so I said, yeah, whatever. So at some point I'm gonna get this bumper probably repainted, as well as the hood, because it's got little specks. I don't know who painted this car before, but I'll probably get it touched up at some point. And this fender needs to be fixed, because you can just kind of move it in and out. But I am glad I got the car back. One thing I'm not too happy about is, well, I guess the car cooled down, but my oil leak is worse. Now, after I stopped driving it, there's all kinds of oil, there's all kind of smoke just coming out the back of it. Just kind of smoldering, where basically I've got an oil leak on the front part of the motor, front side, close to the exhaust manifold somewhere in there. And it is getting onto the exhaust and burning and just causing this little, like a light fog of smoke. But yeah, so I got my baby back. I don't have any updates as far as parts go, but I am glad that I finally have the car back, because as much as I like the rental car, nicer, newer car, it does not compare to this one as far as being fun to drive in general. Oh, and I'd also like to thank the shop for cleaning my windows. They were kind of foggy, like all of them, and I don't know what they used to clean them with. I'll probably drive back down and ask them what they used. and I will probably use that to finish cleaning the windshield. So they cleaned like 90% of it, so all the other windows are pretty clear, but the bottom quarter, like from here all the way over, is still a little hazy looking. But obviously I'm not short, so I don't have an issue with that sitting in the car. And I have to figure out how to fix these vents on my dash. It wasn't like that when I got it, but obviously it's hot down here in the summer in Southern California, so they just kind of gradually peeled away. I didn't even notice it until one day I looked at it and it looked like two nostrils sticking out. So that's it for the update on this. On the what do you call it? Changed my mind on well, I'm drawing a blank right now. Oh, the coolant housing. So I was going to run the RBC intake manifold, and I was looking at my options, and I'd have to buy a special intake manifold gasket with an adapter to run the coolant line directly back to the water pump, from where the head is, the back of the head, or the front I should say. And I decided that since this is definitely going to be a street car, what I'm going to do instead is just run the K24A2 intake manifold that I already have. So I eliminate that one adapter. Obviously the coolant is going to kind of heat soak the intake manifold just running through the intake itself, but at this point I don't care. I just want to finish getting the motor together so I can, finally put it in the car. So I'm going to run that intake manifold. I still need the other upper coolant housing that goes on the side of the head. If I had a K20A2 or a K20Z1 head, I wouldn't have that issue. But on the K24, since I have the PLM exhaust manifold, the intake or the compressor housing for the turbo hits the stock coolant housing that's on that side. So I'm going to run a lower profile one, but I'm also going to get the one I think I'm going to get the K-tuned one that has the built-in coolant cap on top of it, which kind of cleans things up a little bit on the motor itself. And I believe that's around $170 to $180. So after that, it'll be injectors. I'm probably going to go with ID 1000s just because they're bolt-in and they're basically the same price as anything smaller. But I'm really just looking for stuff that I can put on the engine and go. And then the last thing will be a full K-Pro. I did find my ECU. I tried to post it in a later video. Couldn't find it, but I went back to my storage unit and found it when I was looking for other parts. So next update will be, I want to say next week or the week after. Maybe I'll have the upper coolant housing, or I'll have the injectors, one or the other, but probably not both. Just not in the budget. All right, till next time.